So hi, welcome to the Good Noise Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with
Tom from Swim Camp.
And we're going to ask him some questions. I'm going to start. So what inspired you to start the project, and what does this project name mean?
The inspiration behind the project, I guess, was just that I've always really made music. I grew up playing music, but I was always kind of in other people's bands and stuff like that. I played drums a lot when I was growing up, and then I sort of switched to guitar like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I really started taking it more seriously. And then so like the project came out as really like a songwriting sort of like practice for me. Like I just wanted to get better at playing guitar and writing songs on guitar. And the name doesn't have any like real significance. I was watching a TV show and someone said one of the characters was like, I got to pick my kids up from swim camp. And I just liked the way that it sounded. It was kind of like, is the combination. I like stuff with the water. I think water is nice, but then it also sounds kind of childish as well, which I think is like a nice kind of mixture there. So that's literally it.
All right.
Can I ask what TV show it was, if you can remember?
Yeah. It's funny. I actually like saw this episode recently. So it's not like I have perfect recall. I literally saw it recently, but It was an episode of the show New Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's Rob Riggle's character. When they're on like a bachelor party or something, and he goes, I gotta go pick my kids up from swim camp. And it was just really funny. So it stuck with me, I guess.
Solid.
Yeah.
Right. So congratulations on your 2 newest releases, Stupid Thing and First Day Back.
Thank
How
you.
do you feel about the response to those 2 so far? Of course, yeah.
Yeah, it's been really cool. I mean, it's a weird time, I think, overall to be releasing music right now. But because it's like you I don't know, with an ordinary release cycle, you get to tour it and kind of have that sort of physical like validation happen. And this, it's like the news cycle is a little bit faster, but I mean, the people that I care about and that are, you know, I think that I would be interested in what they think have all been really positive about it. And
that's good.
Like, you know, people online seem to like it and stuff too, which is I mean, you know, it's exactly what I would have hoped for, I think, with it. So,
yeah.
I'm very happy to hear that.
So is there any meaning behind the single names or the cover art?
Yeah, probably.
You're saying that like you don't know, but there should be.
Yeah, I mean the names I think are just well, at least with Stupid Thing, it's a line from, I think it's a line from the text of the song. And it was something too. I was like in a place where I was writing a lot of songs that had like something with like the word stupid thing in it. Obviously none of the other ones made the cut, but like I kind of just like liked that as an idea. It's also like as a sort of like lead single on like a signing announcement, I feel like it was kind of like a misdirect to a certain extent. Like it's like not as serious as maybe it should sound, which I kind of liked. And First Day Back, I think the name for that was, that song is sort of like more like narrative driven. And so I saw the song really like starting on someone's first day back into like someone, you know, into life or something like that. So that's where that comes from. And the art, I mean, I'm sure there's, you know, it's not my art. I certainly get stuff out of the album art personally, but I don't know if there's sort of like necessary, like that there's external truths to it or whatever, but it's an artist named Biff who's like just really awesome. I've really loved working together. They did a t-shirt design for me as well, which is super cool. So you would have to ask Biff, I guess, if there's like explicit meaning there. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
So you just hand them like you tell them you need a cover art, and then they just go wild.
Yeah, with Biff, we've worked together a few times, and it's basically like I'll send the songs or whatever it is, and then she'll kind of like sit with it and kind of figure out what works. And like with this one, this was a really good, like she has like kind of a backlog of stuff that she just like hasn't, you know, done like exhibited or anything like that. She's like you know, an artist out in Indiana, and like does exhibits and all this kind of stuff. But then for the stuff that she hasn't sold or hasn't exhibited, then she'll be like, does any of this sort of make sense for the songs? And in this case, it was one of her sort of like pieces that was in her backlog. And I was like, what about that one? And she was like, yeah, I think that's perfect. And it kind of just, worked out like that, which was cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So can you tell me a little bit about your writing process for these two songs?
Yeah. I write, I kind of like write and record at the same time. And I do it like compulsively. Like I just like, and it's like, my thing is like when it rains, it pours kind of. I'll go through a phase of probably 6 or 7 months where like nothing's happening and I just like don't have it. Mm-hmm. And then I'll go through a phase like where it's really fertile. And I think I'm in the middle of that right now. And so this started, I wrote the songs probably in like early December or something like that. And I track them I do like a demo track at home, and that's how I kind of flesh them out and figure out lyrics and parts and all that kind of stuff. And then I took those demos and went to a studio I'm from Philadelphia, so a studio in Philly called the Headroom. And then that's where we kind of do like the more fleshed out, like real recording stuff. But yeah, they both started on guitar. Most stuff that I write starts on guitar. Mm-hmm. And then typically I'll kind of have like a chord, like a overall structure and some chords and changes and stuff that I like in the songs. And then I'll sit down to demo it, and it usually winds up just turning into something totally different. I kind of build it as I go.
Oh,
okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Solid.
So I want you to pick your favorite lyric from this pair of singles and tell us the meaning behind it.
Oh man, that's a toughie.
It is, yeah.
I'm so bad with lyrics. I forget my own lyrics constantly. I don't listen to lyrics when I listen to music. Mm-hmm. Well, okay. There's one from First Day Back. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember exactly how the line goes. Oh yeah. Okay. So the line is "forgot what it meant," and it doesn't. It's almost one "forgot what it meant." It's at the end of the song, and it doesn't sound like an important line or anything, but it's like I like when bands do this, but I've never done it myself. Where some of the lyrics that you write are sort of internally referential, where it goes back to another song that you've written or something like that, and that line is a callback to the first song on my last record, Barlow Hill, and the song is called Flood. And at one point in that song, I don't remember again exactly what the lyric is, but it's something like, it's like, don't forget what it meant. And then the like callback to that is I forgot what it meant, basically. So it's kind of like a circle. Yeah. And I liked that. And again, that it wasn't something that I had intended, but then like kind of as I was sitting with it, I was like, oh yeah, that does sort of answer that. And it made it feel sort of substantial or something.
Okay.
That's really good. Yeah. Do you usually try and make it like connect in some songs, or was, as you said, like that was just kind of an accident? Yeah,
it was definitely like I'm very like overall, I'd say my process is really haphazard. I have a background in like avant-garde music where nothing is written and you kind of just like do it. And that's how I try to do that in my own sort of writing and stuff. And oftentimes it'll happen too, where I'll write a song and then it doesn't necessarily have a relevance when I'm writing it, but then it like becomes relevant later on and you're like, oh shit, like that's how that makes sense. So no, I haven't done that before. Not that I'm aware of. Maybe I have. I just forgot about it.
You never know.
But it was definitely like, it was a happy accident for sure. And it's one that like, when I've heard the song, as I've heard it 500,000 times, as it was getting mixed and everything, every time that line came up, it kind of like, it made me, my brain did a thing and I was like, oh, that was nice. Like it felt good. So yeah.
Yeah. Pat yourself on the back for that.
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit. Yeah, for sure.
So can you tell me where your headspace was while creating those two songs?
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, probably. I think I shouldn't speak for everyone in the world, but I think it's understandable that I think probably a lot of people's headspace is pretty negative right now, just with how the world is happening. And that was definitely true for me as well. But it's the sort of, I had been in a sort of like relationship that had ended, and the ending of the relationship was actually, it felt really good for me. And so I think it was this kind of like combination of like, this sort of like depressing reality of living in December 2020 in Philadelphia where you can't do anything, it's cold, you can't see anyone, whatever, plus this sort of like weird like freedom but also not freedom kind of thing. And I think that was really kind of like the heartbeat of the whole project. Was this sort of, it's like hopeful but kind of also not hopeful at all, and kind of sad but also kind of like okay with it being sad. And yeah, so that to answer your question succinctly, that's my Headspace. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So what band or artist influence you think you can hear the most on these couple of singles?
Yeah, I mean, I think the songs are really different. I think Stupid Thing was definitely like like the vocal line and the way that the song is structured. I had Trace Mountains in my head, or like Level Up, like one of Dave's songs from Level Up, maybe. So they were definitely like really big, and that's a band that I love and that I listen to all the time. So Trace Mountains for that. And then First Day Back, I don't think it comes off, but it was a band that I was listening to a lot at that point. And it's waveform, and just kind of like I think it's maybe more apparent in the demo that I did that they were sort of the what I was aiming for, just energy wise. And I think once we took it to the studio, kind of went to a different place. It's a little bit like cleaner sounding and a little bit less lo-fi. But when it was in that sort of lo-fi world, it definitely, I think, was referential to just like overall the vibe of like a waveform song.
Okay.
Solid. All right. So this one should be super, super fast. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe these two songs for new listeners in 3 words.
In 3 words.
3 words.
Soft. Emotional. Rock and roll. That's we'll make that one.
We'll hyphenate that one. Yeah. So in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling you want your listeners to have while going through these couple of singles? God damn.
I would say like, I think it's like a tension release thing. So I think like feeling like a tension in the song is good, but then also kind of feeling like a relaxation or that sort of like ebb and flow of things. I think that's what I'm going for. Some people think it's really like that it's sad music. Some people don't think that it's sad music. I don't know about like mood or anything like that, but I just like that sort of like pull and release kind of thing.
Okay.
I definitely get that. That's exactly what I got when I listened to your music, because I didn't expect it, but I was like, oh, yo, wait, this is really good. So good job on that.
Nailed it. All right.
Yeah, for real. So where do you see the project in the next 5 years?
You know, that's a great question.
Yes.
Right. That's the age old question. I think like, as long as I can kind of keep making music and whatever, I think that's kind of it for me to a certain extent. I'm happy doing that. You know, as touring becomes a thing again, that's you know, I think that's going to become, a bigger part of my life. Which is exciting and cool. I've like, you know, signed with a booking agency and all this kind of stuff, which is exciting. But I think at the root of it, I kind of want to just keep doing the same thing. And like, it's what makes me happy. Just kind of like being in my basement making music. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I'm happy to hear about the signing.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Congrats.
I hope you get to tour everywhere now.
Well, yeah, we'll see what happens. If anyone listening wants someone to open their tour, that'd be great. But no, yeah, it's cool. It's and like the other thing too, I think setting out making music initially, it was like some people look at it sort of career wise, and I think that's cool. If it works for you, I have friends who do that, and it does seem like it's a grind, but it's also like you're doing what you love, so that's kind of cool. I have a good job. I don't need to like make money at music necessarily, but what I set out initially, it was like I want to not lose money making music, and like I think for a lot of people that's not a reality, because you know, studio time and equipment and all this kind of stuff is really expensive. But now that I'm like, I do have like, I've signed with a label, and so I have a lot of that sort of like provided for me. Like I feel like very content with that sort of situation. So if that just stays the same, then I'm like totally fine for the next 5 years, you know?
Yeah.
So for the last couple questions, direction shift shift away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink? My brain's freezing tonight.
Sure. I guess I'd want something that would take a long time to eat.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. No, I wouldn't. I would want something. I think at that point, I would want something like healthy feeling, which is kind of maybe counterintuitive. Like a nice salad. I think I would want to go, yeah, like a good, like hearty salad, some beets in it, maybe some chicken, like a nice balsamic vinaigrette dressing.
Mm-hmm.
I would want to feel healthy on my way out, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And for a drink, I don't know, like kombucha. I've been in a real kombucha thing recently. I've been drinking a lot. I go to this grocery store near my house and they have these huge things of kombucha now. So I've been getting those. So yeah, I would say that, which is, it's really not, that's misleading because I'm not like a healthy person ordinarily, but I would want to feel good on my way out. You know?
You don't want to feel like you just ate 10 pounds of grease.
Yeah, right. Because it's not a good feeling. You know, I want my last moments to be, healthy.
Okay. And like, that's you can get a gigantic salad and take forever to eat it, and you still won't be full. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Again, that's probably the healthiest death row meal we've gotten so far. Usually we get like Taco Bell for some reason.
I've never thought about that. Like, I mean, it's like it's been a passing thought, I think, but I've never actually had to answer it.
Well, now you have an answer.
That feels like my truth, though. I don't know. You know, we'll see. Hopefully not, but you know.
Yeah. All right. So if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
It's a perfect question. I've been watching Lord of the Rings recently. It would be, I would live in Middle Earth, specifically the Shire, specifically Hobbiton. I would want to live as a hobbit. Also, well, I guess I should ask, because like the Shire and Hobbiton, they're built for little people, right? Mm-hmm. So would I also then be like a hobbit in terms of my stature?
Yeah. If you want to be,
100%. Yeah. For sure. Lock that in.
All right.
Solid. Good choice.
So I have the honor of asking the last question, and every single person we've spoken to have said that it is the most important question.
All right.
What's your favorite color?
Red.
Specific shade of red.
Like I like not like a too bright red, but like a solid, nice red brick red. Yeah.
All right.
I think it is an important question. I think you learn a lot about someone by what their favorite color is. But mine is red.
Yeah.
And we have a bonus question for you tonight, because Gloria and I were having a massive disagreement before this call started.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Garlic in your guacamole, yes or no?
Oh man, I've never made guac. I would say probably no.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Oh man.
It seems like that would be sort of like a flavor. Like it would pull focus away from everything else that's in the guac.
Exactly.
Whereas like a nice, I should say, if it's a nice like roasted garlic, I could see that being it because it's a little bit mellower in terms of the flavor. But if it's like a raw garlic, that's going to be a no from me. Is there a right answer to that? Are you supposed to?
Yes, there's a right answer. You're not supposed to.
I mean, recipes on Google have a conflicting answer. I was looking before this.
You don't listen to those. You have to listen to your parents who dude. Anyways,
this is going to end the podcast right here. This one.
No, dude.
Wow, I didn't mean to. Yeah, I didn't mean to. Yeah.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We both know we're right, so. It's okay.
Beautiful.
So, as I said, that's all the questions you have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
No, not really. Just like, listen to your friends' music, buy your friends' music, go on your Spotify and all the top stuff that you listen to. Go on Bandcamp and buy all that. If it's swim camp, that rules. If it's not, that's also totally fine. I'll have more music coming up later in the year at some point. There will be an announcement at some point in the future. So stay tuned for that. And then have yourselves a wonderful summer. Summer's not a real thing anymore once you're out of school, but still enjoy it. Be safe, wear your masks, get your vaccines, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for sitting down with us. This has been Tom from Swim Camp, and we're the Good Noise podcast.